7 things that happened after Jesus died. The very moment Jesus breathed his last breath, a violent earthquake shook the ground, splitting rocks and tearing the curtain in the temple from top to bottom. But that was just the beginning. Over the next days, strange, almost supernatural events unfolded, events that left witnesses stunned, fearful, and questioning the reality of what they saw. Could these events be random, or were they powerful signs of something much greater? Here's a countdown of 7 astonishing things that happened after Jesus died. Number 1. A mysterious darkness covered the land. The Gospels describe that from noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness fell over the entire region. This wasn't an ordinary shadow but a thick, unnatural darkness that blanketed the city and the surrounding hillside of Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. People were stunned, and a silence swept over the crowds as they watched in fear and confusion. The darkness was so profound that it felt suffocating, an eerie interruption of daylight that left people bewildered. Many wondered if it was an omen, a supernatural sign marking the tragic event that had just unfolded. In ancient texts, darkness was often a symbol of divine judgment or a manifestation of God's presence. Perhaps it was meant to reflect the sorrow of heaven itself. Could this darkness have been more than just a phenomenon? Could it have been a message for those witnessing this moment? The chilling darkness would remain a powerful memory for those present, who felt as if they had been engulfed in a shadow beyond the natural world. Number 2. The veil in the temple was torn from top to bottom. This veil was not a flimsy curtain, it was a thick, heavy tapestry, intricately woven and several inches thick. It hung as a barrier between the Holy of Holies and the outer part of the temple, symbolizing the separation between God and humanity. Only a high priest could enter this sacred space, and only once a year, to atone for the people's sins. When Jesus died, the veil tore from top to bottom, as if by an invisible hand. Witnesses were terrified, not only because of the physical event but also because of its spiritual implications. The tearing of the veil was a sign that the barrier between God and humanity had been removed. No longer would people need a mediator to approach God. For believers, it was the ultimate symbol of a new covenant, that through Jesus' death, access to God was open to everyone. Some priests may have tried to repair or cover up the torn veil, but the message had already spread. It was clear that this event marked a profound shift. Yet some were left confused, wondering if this was a warning. The temple was the heart of worship, and a torn veil signaled that nothing would be the same again. Number 3. An earthquake shook the ground. Just as Jesus took his last breath, the earth shook violently, splitting rocks and cracking open the ground around Jerusalem. This wasn't just a minor tremor, it was a powerful quake that made people fall to the ground, cry out, and flee for safety. The timing was too perfect to be dismissed. Jerusalem was not known for earthquakes, especially of such force, and to those who witnessed it, this quake felt like an expression of divine power. Many saw it as a sign that Jesus' death had changed the world in ways they couldn't yet understand. Could this earthquake have been nature's response to an extraordinary loss? Was it a display of grief, anger, or a message from the heavens? Even the hardened Roman soldiers were shaken, feeling as if something far beyond their understanding was unfolding. The ground's trembling was a jolt to the city, a reminder that even creation itself might be reacting to this moment. The earthquake left everyone questioning what forces were truly at work and whether they had just witnessed something cosmic in scale. Number 4. Tombs were opened, and the dead rose. Amid the chaos of the earthquake, another astonishing event took place. Tombs around Jerusalem broke open, and people who had died were raised to life. The Gospel of Matthew tells us that these resurrected saints left their graves and appeared to people in the city. Imagine the scene as these holy figures, saints, prophets, or revered ancestors, walked among the people. The sight of those who had been dead for years must have left the witnesses awestruck and perhaps even terrified. Families who saw familiar faces from the past might have been overcome with shock and disbelief. Who were these resurrected individuals, and why did they return? Some believed they were a living testimony to Jesus' victory over death, a preview of the resurrection he promised. Others thought they were messengers, meant to remind the people of something greater. Their presence was a mystery that baffled everyone. Was this a sign of the new life Jesus had spoken of, a foretaste of the resurrection that would come for all believers? The reappearance of these holy figures added another layer to the sense of awe and wonder that surrounded Jesus' death. Number 5. A Roman centurion's surprising declaration. Among those gathered at the crucifixion was a Roman centurion, a man trained to carry out executions and keep order. As he witnessed the darkness, the earthquake, and Jesus' final moments, he was overcome with a sense of reverence. He exclaimed, "Surely, this man was the Son of God." These words were unexpected, coming from a Roman officer who was loyal to the empire and its gods. But something about what he witnessed moved him to make this profound declaration. For a soldier like him to say such words was revolutionary. It was an acknowledgement of divinity in a man condemned by his own people. Did he feel the presence of something divine? Or was he simply overcome by the strange, unsettling events that accompanied Jesus' death? His words would become a powerful testament to the significance of that day, showing that even those outside Jesus' circle recognized his power. This soldier's statement was a bridge between the Jewish and Gentile worlds, signaling that Jesus' message had the potential to reach beyond boundaries and transform lives. Number 6. The courage of Joseph of Arimathea. After Jesus' death, his followers were in hiding, fearful of the authorities and uncertain of what the future held. But Joseph of Arimathea, a respected member of the Jewish council, stepped forward with an extraordinary act of faith. He went to Pilate and requested Jesus' body so that he could give him a proper burial. This was a dangerous decision. Aligning himself with Jesus, a man condemned and crucified, could ruin his status or even cost him his life. Yet Joseph was determined. He took Jesus' body, wrapped it in fine linen, and placed it in his own new tomb, a gesture of honor and respect. This act of loyalty stood out, especially as others abandoned Jesus in his darkest hour. What moved Joseph to take this risk? Perhaps he believed that Jesus' story wasn't over or felt that burying Jesus was the least he could do to show his devotion. Joseph's courage was a beacon of faith, showing that true loyalty sometimes means going against the norm and taking a stand for what you believe, even when it costs you everything. Number 7. The mystery of the empty tomb. After Jesus was laid to rest, the religious leaders remembered his prediction that he would rise on the third day. To prevent any deception, they requested that guards be placed at the tomb and that a large stone be rolled in front of it to seal it shut. But despite their efforts, on the morning of the third day, the tomb was found empty. The guards were bewildered, unable to explain how the stone was moved or where Jesus' body had gone. When the women arrived to anoint Jesus' body, they were met by an angel who told them, "He is not here, he has risen." The news spread quickly, filling Jerusalem with awe, confusion, and disbelief. The empty tomb became the cornerstone of the Christian faith, a symbol of resurrection and hope. Skeptics were left with a mystery they could not explain. For believers, it was the ultimate sign of victory over death. The empty tomb signaled that Jesus had overcome the grave, leaving humanity with a promise of eternal life. This event, more than any other, would change the course of history and spark a movement that would spread across the world. Each of these 7 events paints a profound picture of transformation, mystery, and awe, pointing to something larger than life itself. From the darkness that covered the land to the empty tomb, the occurrences following Jesus' death left a deep and lasting impression on those who witnessed them. Could all of these be mere coincidences, or were they powerful signs revealing a truth beyond human comprehension? These mysteries continue to inspire believers and intrigue skeptics, reminding us of a moment that forever changed the world.